we are going to transition to the education session, which is on the topic of MPEG media avatar updates. So we have Quentin Avril, who's a senior scientist at Interdigital, and Philippe Guilottel, distinguished scientist, who's also working at Interdigital, and we also have Joao Regateiro, scientist at Interdigital. So again, they are gonna focus on the agenda listed in the slide. So I'll let Quentin go ahead and take control, and feel free to start introducing and go over the education session.
Thank you very much for the introductions, Zeno, and thank you, by the way, for this acceptance for this very short notice, because we've been in contact last week, and we wanted to give you guys a quick heads up on the work and the progresses that has been done on the avatar topic within MPEG. So, and especially on two specific documents that have been just released as outputs from the last meetings. So one on the requirements and state of the art, and one on the use cases. So MPEG is moving on the topic. So that's why we wanted to show you. Okay. Just a quick context and reminder. So we've already done a presentation last year in May in the Metaverse and the Forum in this group. So it was about MPEG ISD, which is the immersive branch of MPEG related to scene description. And we did a focus on the user representation and avatar, and all what has been done since 2021, 2022, 2023 on this group. So it's a GLTF based format, and the goal is that GLTF is not covering everything that we wanted to tackle, like, for example, augmented reality anchoring, interactivity, lighting, avatar, haptic, and so forth. So that's why this group has been created a few years ago. And inside this group, we created an exploratory experiment that lasted 1 year to investigate the topic of avatar. And we came up with these outputs. So there is a new GLTF extensions on this MPEG node avatar in the GLTF format that has been proposed in the second amendment of the format. And also the Morgan, which is, I presented it at the last meeting. So please check the former slides, which is the reference character. It has become the reference character of MPEG. So you have a sample of a picture here where you can see that this is a full body character, a gender neutral, where you have all of the important parts for the static and dynamic animation, skeleton, blend shapes, and everything. And last year, two publications were released on this topic. So the first one has been published in Web3D, which is describing in deep details Morgan. So please check this out. And also at the IBC conference in Amsterdam in September. So the MPEG group has published a new paper about the MPEG ISD, all of the description of the format. So you can have all of the information that are public for these papers. Okay, so what are the news and updates on the MPEG side? So last summer, in July 2023, in Geneva, Switzerland, MPEG has started and initiated a new discussion, which is in the technical requirements group. So everything starts in a technical requirements group in MPEG. Okay, whenever you want to create a new group, you first need to go in this first step about requirements. So the objective is to create a new avatar representation and encoding format. So that's the main objective. And the scope is really to have this two parts. So first, be having this harmonization about the representation. Okay, so the format of the avatar, what information we're going to put in this format, and then create an encoded version of such a representation. So this is the two main points of the scope of this group. And so far, two documents have been released, as I said, so two outputs. So they should be, I guess, accessible on the ISO website. So for all of the MPEG members, of course, they are completely accessible, but I think it's public on the ISO. I can check it and let you know later, but I think it's on the ISO website. So the 347 is a document about requirements and state of the art, which had just been released in January, and the 301 is just the one on the use cases released last summer. And I'm going to provide you some more details on these two documents. So for the first one, we detailed, so the group, it's not only us, it's the whole group, has detailed all of the possible use cases for avatar use case. So the first, I mean, here I'm going to detail just, I would say, the bigger ones, or the ones we already see that are in use today in the industry. So the video conferencing and remote calls, for example, and also the telepresence and immersive experiences. So here you can see on the picture, this is one of our colleague, which is doing the master, I mean, the puppet master on an avatar. So his face is tracked, and then some blend shapes information is streamed to another computer, another server, and this is animating in live the avatar. So that's something that is already in use right now. I'm not going to detail all of the sub use cases, but this is just to show you the big families of use cases that have been detailed. Same for here, more like immersive live events. So we can think about live concerts, or it could be a pure virtual concerts, but also yeah, sports. Like here you can have an example of a live soccer game where players are tracked, and you can have some virtual information about their avatars and stuff like this. And also remote cooperation and collaborative working. So that's also something that has been highly detailed in the documents. And just to give you, that's all of the list of the use cases. So this is a long list, as you can see here, from virtual try-on to gaming and training education. But it really looks like, I would say, the use case matrix that we've been discussing in this group, that we've been working, that MSF has been working on. If you check these documents, it's a pretty long document, and all of the use cases and sub-use cases are detailed, okay? So it's really, you have a paragraph all the time explaining what we meant by this use case, how it can be used, why is it useful to have an avatar representation for this specific use case, and everything. So please check it. Please check it. So, and an important table that has been also provided in this document is everything related to features. So here you have the big families of use cases on the left, and you have some features on all of the columns. So for example, is what type of interaction this is. Is it a multi or unidirectional interaction? What kind of delay you have or expect? What types of interactions you need? Is it a speech, or do you need to touch? Do you need to have you know, some haptics, or many things that you can have in terms of interactions in this use case? Is it a local or streamed use case, personal or social, and also some standard applicability? So I'm not going to detail everything here, but this table is available, fully available. Same for state of the art. So here, two interesting tables. I hope you can read, but it's just to, again, to show you that this information is accessible and available in documents. But the first table on the top left is about state of the art of existing or initiatives in the past that has been done on 3D digital character or user representation research. So you have several formats, several standards that have been that has been proposed, and you have all of the advantages and drawbacks, so the pros and the cons of all of them, and why this is useful to move on and to propose this new media avatar within MPEG, because none of these formats are capable of answering all of the requirements the group has. And on the bottom right, this is more like candidate technologies for avatar coding, meaning that if you start from the left column, this is more like the type of media you're using. So if, for example, if we take the first line is, okay, I want my avatar to be a video. It's a very basic avatar. What type of video? Do you want a 2D video, basic 2D video? Do you want a multi-view video or a point cloud video? So this is also a technology that is available. So making a video from a point cloud. And you can see at the extreme right column, what is the MPEG standard associated to this one. So if it's the 2D video, you're going to go with VVC, which is the codec, the most recent codec to encode 2D video. If you want a multi-view video, this is going to be MIV codec. and put the point cloud, this is the PCC, and so forth. Okay, so this is more like if you want which type of media you want to use, and is there a related MPEG standard associated to this media? And you can see that here there is some holes here, so there is some missing standard. So that's why we propose, and that's why this group has been created to fill this holes and fill this gap inside this candidate technologies. And regarding the second document, so the first one was about use cases and state of the art, and about this this other one, the 347, about requirements. So the group has worked on detailing precisely what are the requirements that are expected for this new future codec or new future format. So 4 families have raised. So the first one is the requirements about the representation of the avatar. So everything related to the geometry, the skeleton, the semantics, clothes, wearables, but also some dynamic information. How is my character animated? How are my clothes deformed? And everything. And also, oh, sorry. Just, okay. And also some not visual information, but additional one, like what is the personality of my avatar? Does he has some specific gestures, habits, and also what are his capabilities? Can he fly, swim, walk, whatever? And in terms of legal also, so what is he allowed to do that, or what is his age, or whatever? So that everything related to the information about the avatar representation. And the second family of requirements is about the file format itself, so the coding format. So, and here you have 4 subfamilies. For example, the general one. So this format should accept 2D and 3D, many types of rendering, questions about the synchronization also. And then on the geometry, you need to also have some level of details available, and maybe to have some hierarchy controls on the animation controllers, for example, on the interaction too, and animation. So that's everything related to the coding formats. And then a third family, which is about transport, sync, and carriage. So here the goal is really that the format needs to provide a secure access to your avatar. It needs to be also seen as an exchange format. It should also be possible that if you have a session with an avatar, information from the avatar should be recordable and recorded. And also, of course, the conversion, it should be convertible to many proprietary format or open formats. That's also an important requirement. And last but not least, the 4th family, which is about storage. So it should be, this avatar should be in a single file with independent access, meaning that if you want to access, for example, let's take an example, the gaze. Okay, I want to know where my character is looking at. I don't need to go through all my file to find gaze information. I should have independent access to this file, meaning that if I want to look to the gaze information, I can access directly to the gaze information without reading all the full body information. Okay, so that's also something that is a requirement for the type of storage. It should be compressed, okay, not to take too much space. And in case of sensitive information, it should also be and propose some encryption. So just to summarize what we've just said, so some takeaways. So the goal was really to show you guys that MPEG is moving ahead on proposing a standard for avatars. And all of the technical and information or informative contributions are still running. So please join, of course. The more we are, the better. Right now, we're several industrials and academics, but we're still accepting people, and that's the goal of MPEG. So this initiative and this proposition should be considered by the Metaverse Standard Forum and documented. And we also do think that the VRM format and the MPEG format are probably compatible because they're both based on the GLTF format. So, but it needs a bit more work, I would say, to really ensure that everything is compatible and convertible. So meaning that, of course, yeah, this is we have a conversion from one to another. So thank you for listening. Thank you again, Zeno, for this the short notice acceptance. And if you have any questions, I am with my colleagues here in the meeting room, so we are ready to answer if you have any. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Quentin. Great updates. Thank you for sharing all the work that you guys have been doing. And yeah, before I ask, anyone from the members would like to ask questions to Quentin? So meanwhile, Quentin, any the papers that you mentioned, right? It would be helpful if you can drop the link in the chat.
Yeah, sure. Completely. You're right. Good point. I will do that right away.
Thank you.
I'll give you back the control.
Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely like a lot of great updates. So like how like it would be really helpful for us to see like more like visual examples, like even for the use cases, right? If we can show like how the MPEG is being used for the specific use case in a visual reference, that would be very helpful. I see Tracy has a raised hand. Go for it, Tracy.
Yeah, hi. So I mainly focus on virtual reality experiences. So do you test this on virtual reality? I'm assuming you'd be streaming onto a headset. Just wondering how well it works.
Okay, that's a good point. Of course, VR has been taken into account in the use cases. I cannot details exactly what are the sub use cases for VR that has been detailed. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to check on the ISO website if the documents and where the documents are available, and I'm going to provide you the links, and you will see all of the details because I know that I was quite fast in my presentation, and you will find with this keyword VR all of the information that you want to get, because otherwise I will maybe say mistakes about this specific use case.
Okay, great, thank you.
I will copy paste the link.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. And Quentin, currently, if somebody has to, let's say, author an MPEG media avatar, what is the process like?
Okay, so if you want to be part of this group, I guess first you need to be and to become an MPEG member. So to do that, I think I don't know. I don't really remember how I registered myself, but through the normalization. Yeah, okay. So that's through the national body organization. So every countries, I mean, the country you belong to has a seat in MPEG. So meaning that if you contact your national body, you will have information about how to join MPEG. So in France, for example, we have this normalization agency. So and it says NIST in the US. So you should first start contacting this organization, and then you can have a step into MPEG. And then, or you can have because when I check the participants, for example, I see that there is someone from Sony, for example. I know that Sony is really active in MPEG. So most of the big companies have seats in MPEG. So in this case, you should contact your colleagues and ask how you can go. But that's sometimes it's a bit foggy. But yeah, national body and being industry.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And is there any like for example, right now I see like a lot of the work is probably still in research phase. Any consumer like accessible content available right now, or is it still kept in a research setting right now?
In content, you mean some assets?
Yeah, like if end users want to like create MPEG media avatar, is there like tools available in the market currently?
No, I mean for the MPEG media avatar right now, there is as the group is just started, there is no, I would say, reference software that has been detailed or that is in used. I know that, for example, some other groups have many assets that are available that you can test on. So I would say I was here making reference to the point clouds or the multi-views where you have humans. Okay, this is not the avatar dedicated, but you have real persons. All of these assets are completely available, and then you have also some plugins that are available for sometimes some game engines like a Unity. I know that some people are working in the scene description with Unity, but on the MPEG media avatar so far, no, there is no output software that you can use or application. Soon.
Okay. But yeah, Hideaki, go for it.
Okay, this is Hideaki from VRM Consortium. So yeah, thank you for mentioning about VRM. And one thing I noticed, can you show me the page 17, Zeno? Oh yeah, and in the under the avatar representation requirements, there is deformations. So like, is there like set number of like keywords or like blend shape keys that is required in this standard?
Yeah, here, I mean, that's a good point. Thank you, Hideaki, for raising it. So in terms of deformations here, it was more related to, physical deformations. So meaning clothes or hair or all of the wearables you can have. Do they have some specific physical properties that needs to be mentioned for the final rendering in terms of deformations? All of the animation is more like in the dynamic, but it's really close. So here we're using, I mean, the goal is really to be able to take into account, for example, all of the skeleton representation with as many joints you want, with all of the skinning weights associated to modify the meshed deformations, and also, of course, blend shapes, which are not only for faces, but you can have some blend shapes for bodies and all of that. So yeah, this is documented in this requirements document. And it's the way you're doing it is right now is not key points based. It would be more like blend shape based. But I remember that key points are mentioned in the document. I would need to I mean, deep dive in the document to better answer that. But as soon as I will provide you the link, maybe you will find your answer inside it.
Ah, okay, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Any other questions from members? And Quentin, when you say here VRM and MPEG formats are probably compatible, is the intent here to mention about the conversion or like converting an avatar from MPEG to VRM, or is it beyond that as well?
No, yes, yeah, you're right. That's the point. The goal is really like we've been following since the beginning the VRM initiative. So and this is when we saw that it was also GLTF based, that we thought that would be completely, I mean, compatible. It's a bit different sometimes on the final use case, but it's I don't think anyone has ever tried right now to do a conversion from one to the other. So the goal would be, I think, to mention that this is compatible and to make it that it should be compatible. It's not done yet, but it's in when you read the requirements, it mentions that if what should be done, okay, and we don't detail exactly how it's going to be done, but taking that conversion into account to VRM is matters, because it's an important format too. So that's why it's mentioned here.
Yeah. And I do see that, like, at least from MPEG standpoint and VRM standpoint, there's a stylistic style differences. And part of that, like, would you say that this conversion would be like a lossless conversion or a lossy conversion? Because MPEG seems to like emphasize a lot on the realistic details, and in VRM, at least from the previous examples, there is more emphasis on the anime stylized version. So is there any exploration in that direction?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you. I think in this case, I would say both. So lossless and with loss, and both should be investigated, of course. They have it's not for the same use cases. So in this case, MPEG is open to all of these types of format with or without loss. So in this case, I cannot. I mean, it has to be discussed, but right now I think it's completely open.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you, Quentin. Any other questions from members? And any yeah, go ahead, Hideaki.
This is not a question, but I'm really interested in how MPEG did all the use case documentations, because as you know, we are working on it right now, and how to effectively do it is like our question right now. So yeah, I'll definitely look into that, and yeah, thanks for sharing it with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, and any takeaways from the use cases that was released in MSF, Quentin? Anything that you saw? Okay, there could be good synergy in the process, the way we did it.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Zeno. Right now, I know that, for example, I put my name on the avatar calls because I've been working on this specific use case for quite a few years now. So on the MSF use case metrics, I was involved here. I think, yeah, I think the way you did it was pretty much the same. I don't remember in details all of the process. But what I can say is that at the last meeting, all of the use cases you presented, I mean, were great. Like the presentation was really was perfect. But I don't know if there is an official liaison, do you know, between MSF and MPEG. I know that some members in the board of the MSF, so the high level, are part of MPEG, but do you know what is the liaison between our group, so the interoperable character, and MPEG? Is there one?
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. Hideaki, do you know any liaison exists?
Me neither. I don't think it exists.
Okay, because in this case, that should be interesting to mention, because I know that, for example, for some other groups, like if you take an example like Chronos, for example, there is an official liaison between Chronos and MPEG, even in the subgroups. For other consortiums or other standards, for example, if you take the wireless, so the 3GPP standards, which is everything related to 4G, 5G, there is an official liaison with MPEG and some other groups. So maybe that could be interesting to raise, to set up an official liaison between MSF, interoperable character, and MPEG media avatar. That could be something, I think, useful for the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think Neil probably would be a better person to drive this conversation as well. But yeah, like definitely happy to
Yeah.
involve
Are you referring to Neil from Chronos?
Neil Trevet from Chronos.
Okay. Yes, sure. Yeah, he will definitely be. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, happy to. Yeah, if you're already connected, yeah, feel free to reach out. But yeah, definitely, Neil is the right person to drive conversation on that. And yeah, any follow-ups you have, yeah, feel free to share it. I think, yeah, like great to see all the updates from MPEG. And yeah, like if you can share, like I'll also take a look at the links that you've shared in the chat offline. And if you have like more visual examples that we can get a idea of like how it works in practice, that will also be very helpful. So yeah, feel free to share more materials offline as well.
Okay, we will. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Quentin, and everyone from InterDigital, ICO as well.